The presenting sponsor for OnEducation is Schoology. Schoology is not only the best learning management system, it's also a community of lifelong learners. There's so many things to love about Schoology, but my favorite is the company's passion to connect with their teachers and students to deliver the best product possible. If you want to learn more about Schoology and how they can help you advance what's possible, visit Schoology.com.
I guarantee you almost everyone who's listening here is nodding their heads right now because everyone has been in a session that sucked. Welcome to OnEducation. I'm Mike Washburn.
And I'm Glen Irvin. Friends, we have an awesome pod for you today. We will discuss whether we should ban cell phones at school, recap the Schoology NEXT conference, lay out our goals for this new school year, and we have an amazing conversation with Teacher Gaming's Santeri Koivisto.
So we're back.
Yes, we're back.
Lots going on. We took a little bit of time off. I mean, more time off on the podcast than like actual recordings than actual work that we did. We did do a live show at Schoology NEXT that we'll talk about. So,
Sure.
But we didn't put it on the air, I guess. But you moved, which is a big deal.
Yes, finally I closed on a house and blessed to be able to have moved in on the 31st of July. And
yeah.
So we've been here for, almost a couple of weeks now, and some boxes are unpacked.
I was going to say, how many boxes do you have left?
There's plenty of boxes in the garage, but that's okay. It's more of figuring out, where do we want to actually put things. But yeah, no, the kids are super happy. My wife is excited, and we're excited to start the new school year here.
When we moved into our first house, we had boxes. We had them all in the basement, and then we decided to finish the basement. So we had to literally just, instead of unpacking them, like you should do, we just took them and moved them to the garage.
Oh yeah.
Which was dumb. But that's what we did. And it's funny because we didn't have pictures up on the wall in our first house, like anything. We had frames. We had things to put up.
Sure.
We didn't put them up for easily a year.
Just too busy.
Yeah, I mean, it was insane. Yeah. It's insane. And when we moved into this house we're in now in October of what would that have been, 16, we put the pictures up right away because, I mean, it was getting a little ridiculous at the old house. Our friends were making fun of us because we didn't have anything up on the walls. So we made an effort to put pictures and stuff up right away. Within 2 weeks, we had after we painted the whole house, the second house,
Sure.
And after we did that, the pictures went up right away. So, good luck, have fun. I'm excited for you. We've talked a little bit over the time. I've tried to leave you alone because you got lots of stuff to do, and house stuff is stressful, and so no, it's exciting for you guys. It'll be nice to have you guys all together. I bet. Cheryl and I have talked about. It's come up a couple times that I mean I can't even imagine basically living separately for as long as you guys did.
Yeah, no, I mean it definitely puts a lot of stress on everything, including raising your kids and then having two different places and financial stresses and whatever. But in the end, it's finally over.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
so we're all good now.
Good things happen to good people, and things happen. So that's awesome. Did you even know that the WoW we're recording on the 13th? The WoW expansion comes out today.
Yeah, I heard about that. They've done the splitting of the two tribes. Is that what they would be called?
The Horde and the Alliance.
The Hordes, yes, exactly.
They hate each other again.
And then now I guess one's the enemy and one's
yes,
whatever.
Yes, the Horde is definitely bad again.
Okay.
Which is crazy. So anyways, the only reason I bring that up totally is because I am working on a bit of a project that I've hinted at before, but I'm building a bit of a gaming community. I have some experience in this, in previous lives. So stay tuned. I'm not going to talk a whole lot about it here other than that if you're playing WoW, then find us on Sisters of Elune, Horde side for the Horde, and that's where I'm going to be playing with a few people at least. And And then I think we're going to build out a community out of it for other games. So if you're playing any other MMOs or any other games, Minecraft, Fortnite, Overwatch, whatever you're playing, I think we're going to build around a community around gameplay. Monster Hunter World.
Yes.
What?
That would be amazing.
I just bought it for PC. It plays so much better for me on PC. I'm not good with controllers.
Sure.
And so I'm excited that I can get my mouse and keyboard action on Monster Hunter World. What else? Oh, I'm working on an article with our friend of the pod, good friend of the pod, Steve Isaacs.
Steve Isaacs, yes.
We're co-writing an article on esports in education.
Nice.
We're it's kind of framed around the international, the Dota 2 international tournament.
Yeah.
Which the finals are in Vancouver in a week or so. But we're going to talk about a lot of things. There's a new esports kind of foundation being formed by
Very cool.
other, and not people who've been on the pod, but kind of heroes of the pod. Kurt Squire and his wife Constance are both kind of big people in this new foundation starting. So we're excited to talk a bit about that stuff. I'm going to give this one to you. The next one here, this cell phones thing, because anyways, go.
So there was an article written, and actually it's in Fortune magazine, I think.
Yeah.
And you can look it up. We'll actually put it in the show notes, but it's titled "Cell Phones Are Banned in France, While in the United States We're Allowing Them More in Class."
It came up on the Daily Show too, eh?
Yeah. It's
Trevor Noah brought it up. It was hilarious.
Yeah, it's a very it's got a lot of hits on that article.
Yeah.
Obviously, number one, it's clickbait. Being that if you really read the article in depth,
Right.
The studies that they're using are very limited, and the specific audience that they're targeting, as far as the article is concerned, and their data that they're using, are college students in lecture-based classrooms, which no wonder you would have no retention as far as if you had a choice between your cell phone and a teacher who was not engaging. Of course, your cell phone is going to be the place where you're going to go to. But the article basically states that, or uses some evidence that in France they're scoring better on whatever it is that they, some kind of standardized test, which we love those, than they would be in the United States, or their retention levels are lower.
Yeah, because standardized testing is the metric for a high quality education.
Exactly, and even if it was,
Stupid.
a measurable effect, if that was actually measurable, what the target audience that they chose is hilarious. Being that we've all been in those lecture-based classrooms where a professor is just droning on and it's not very engaging. And of course, if you have your cell phone, there's so many other things in the world that are happening, that you're going to be distracted. Whereas they didn't actually use a scenario where a teacher is using the cell phones in their classroom for whatever they might be using them for, to be able to look up some information as their class is going, to be able to do some group activities, to be able to play games as a class. Lots of different ways to be able to use the phones themselves as the tools that they can and are. I mean, they're not going away. So I thought it was hilarious that, number one, that it got so much traction, and number two, that people are using this to hoist the thing of saying, okay, let's ban the phones, instead of saying, hey, you know what, maybe we need to look at our teaching practices and make sure that we offer professional development to say, hey, how can we use these in our classes as an effective way? And of course, there are times too, and I'm sure, especially in the middle school scenario, that the way that you're at, even in high school, where you're going to have them, put them on their desk,
put them away sometimes.
We're going to be doing this other thing right now, but hey, we're going to get back to those, and you're going to be able to use them for the powerful tools that they are. So I thought it was awesome. I mean, as far as being able to discuss it.
Yeah, it's funny that when you posted it on Facebook a week or so ago, you tagged me in it, almost like you knew that it would like start a burning fire in my soul, like I was gonna lose my mind over it. I kind of was restrained in my response to you, but man, oh man. I'll tell you, you know what I'm not against? Cell phones in schools. You know what I'm against? Crappy lecturers.
Yes.
That's what I'm against. Because you know what? I'll be honest. I've sat in lectures where people have just blown the doors off the place.
Sure.
Awesome
Yes.
lecturers are amazing. And I'll tell you, I mean, we don't run ads for these guys. We'd love to one day. But you go listen to the Great Courses service. Go. You can get a free trial.
Sure.
You shouldn't yet, because you should use our offer code when we do. But
Okay.
but you should totally go and listen to a Great Courses lecture. People should. And I'll tell you, those lectures are amazing. They're interesting. They talk with inflection and they talk with passion. And I took a lot of undergrad courses in history, and my specialization is genocide, actually.
Yeah.
And so I know an inordinate amount about the Holocaust and Rwanda specifically, I guess. But I took those courses because it was the same person teaching a lot of them, and she was amazing.
There are some people that are very gifted in that ability. Yes.
Incredibly gifted. And
there's a time and a place for it too. I mean, there's a time when you can deliver some kind of content or a story or a connector. You know what I mean? You're connecting to something, and then you get to do something with that knowledge, or get that, then it becomes, a classroom activity where the students are now involved in the storytelling and those kinds of things. Yes.
Yeah.
But I totally understand what you mean.
I'll listen to smart people talk about smart things all day. And I think this is ridiculous. It's a Band-Aid. Anyways, Schoology Connect Minnesota happened.
We just had basically Schoology does these statewide conferences.
Yeah. Not all over the place, right?
No, not all over, but I
think
they're becoming more popular. Pennsylvania had one. They had one in the Missouri, Kansas area, I think right in Kansas City. I know they have one in Texas.
Nice.
I believe. So we had one in Minnesota for the second time, and it happened to be hosted for the second time again in Sauk Rapids High School, which is the high school that I work at. And the most amazing part, I thought, and it kind of goes along, I mean, we do the ad for Schoology, but it goes right along with this, is that the CEO, he's considered the CEO, right? Jeremy Friedman?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So
they have their new guy's the president.
The president, exactly. So the guy, one of the guys who actually created Schoology, and who is the CEO, actually came out to, it's not like it's in the Twin Cities. It's 70 miles from the Twin Cities. Came out to our little town, specifically to our high school, and he actually did the opening, kind of, not the keynote, because we had a specific keynote for that too, but he did the opening remarks for it, and it was awesome. And he was actually at all of the different sessions, taking pictures and just talking to people and really being down at the ground level and talk. I just saw him having all kinds of conversations with people, including myself, just about how to improve the product, which is awesome. I mean, that doesn't happen with every kind of company. So
hardly ever.
Yes, exactly. So really big shout out to Jeremy Friedman and of course the whole Schoology team, Bridget, Heaton, and they did an amazing job running the conference alongside us, and then really pushing to connect with their users. So really wanted to make sure I brought that up because, man, it was awesome.
Awesome. Speaking of the awesome Schoology community, when we come back, we'll recap our summer a little bit, but most importantly, we'll chat about Schoology NEXT, a conference that just wrapped up, the big one in San Diego a few weeks ago.
OnEducation is brought to you by Teacher Gaming. Teacher Gaming Desk is an all-in-one toolkit for any teacher looking to use more games in their classroom. This isn't just playing games in class. We're talking about 40-plus blockbuster games supercharged with 200-plus hours of lesson content and curriculum-aligned learning analytics. My current favorite game is called Contraption Maker, which allows the students to create Rube Goldberg type of machines in the game. If you want to learn more about teacher gaming, simply go to teachergaming.com to get started.
All right, welcome back. The Schoology user conference, Schoology NEXT, was in San Diego. It was an awesome week of learning, sharing, and networking, and team building. Lots of fun. This is one of the coolest communities out there, and it was a blast being able to see everyone that you talk to all the time. You lived in San Diego, or you lived in California, is that right?
Yes,
Did I get that right?
Yes, I want to shout out to the Imperial Valley, which nobody knows about. It's east of San Diego. I lived in a little town called Holtville. It's by another town called El Centro. And it's a few hours from San Diego to the east in the middle of a desert. Lots of amazing people there. I worked there it was my first 2 years of my career.
Wow. I mean, listen, I'm Canadian, so, the weather there is like
beautiful,
so outside of my realm of experience that I have a hard time even like thinking about it. This is a place that the weather doesn't change. It is the same every day.
Yes.
Virtually the same every single day, 365 days a year. It is partly cloudy to sunny, and 71. Look at me, I'm using Fahrenheit. 71 to 78 degrees Fahrenheit. Let's say about 22 for my Canadian friends, about 22 to 24 to like 28 to 30.
Yes.
It's basically perfect. It is the most perfect place that I've ever seen in my life in terms of weather.
That's why why people want to live there. It's amazing.
Oh my God. I couldn't believe it. I was just like, I mean, I think people were sick of me talking about the weather, but like, I just couldn't imagine a place where it was the same every single day. I mean,
Could you imagine a place where they put all the vendors outside and it wasn't a big deal about leaving all your stuff outside without thinking about rain or anything else, you know?
The funny thing about that was I was talking to Ivan about that at ISTE. So yeah. We're in the vendor area at ISTE, and we're at the Schoology booth, and Ivan Casanova, director of marketing for Schoology, I said, Ivan, we're having all this stuff outside. Aren't you worried about the weather? And he looks at me in his typical fashion. If you know Ivan, he says, Mike, and he looks at me and he goes, Mike, it's not going to rain. And then he pauses, deep pause, and he says, Mike, it never rains there. It's not going to rain. And I was just like, okay, dude. But it didn't rain. It was beautiful every single day.
Yes.
Every single day. It was amazing. And you were sick. Like really sick.
Yes. I was there early. Actually, I left about 5 days early to California to visit my brother who lives in the Los Angeles area. And it was only about a day into visiting him, I started getting sick, and then I got really, really sick, where I had to go to urgent care, had to get medical treatment there.
You got like antibiotic shots and stuff.
Yes, I got shots. I got medicine, and the illness just lived on for weeks. So it was crazy. But they fixed me enough to where I could actually do the session that we were supposed to be doing.
Powered through it. We did a live show.
Yes, we did.
That was not the audio quality was not good enough for the internet.
Yeah,
but it was great there.
That was unfortunate. Oh, I think there was perfect. We had an audience. People were there. They were listening in and having fun with it. And then we were doing live interviews, which obviously we've never done before. So that was awesome. Never done
any of that.
No. We've done interviews with people, right in front of us, obviously at ISTE, but not like this where you had the pressure of an audience and
performance.
Yes, exactly. But it went really, really well, and people, it was well received. It's just that to coordinate all the audio and stuff in a live fashion outside is, we're gonna need some better equipment to be able to do all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think we've talked to them about how we could do it in the future, because I think that everyone loved the show. Like the feedback we got was great. I'm a bit of perfectionist, in terms of this stuff. Anyways, I've tried to do this as well as we could possibly do it.
Sure.
But so I'm a little bummed that the content, it was good there. Like I said, it was good there. And I promised Steve Rayo. Steve Rayo is 2017 Schoology Ambassador of the Year. He actually did like a legit interview with us.
Yes, he did.
But the audio wasn't very. It was crap. So
we'll have to bring him on.
Yeah. So I talked to him. I talk to him all the time. But I said to him, a couple weeks ago or a week or so ago, that we'll have him. We'll just have him on because he's a good dude, and we like talking to good people. So the live show was a blast, though. It was a weird experience. I've thought about it a lot, and it's a strange thing being like the performance side. I can sit and talk to this microphone all day.
Yes, but being in front of an audience and doing that whole thing live, it's interesting. We'll have to do it again, though.
Totally different. I really enjoyed it, and I'm sure we'll get better at it. So hopefully we keep doing this, and then we can keep getting better at those things. Because I think that even doing one in Minnesota at maybe like next year's Connect, Minnesota would be. I mean, we have a ton of people who listen to the podcast from Minnesota.
Oh yeah, that'd be perfect.
I mean,
yeah.
We'd fill a bar if we did like a bar at a live show at like a bar or something. It'd be great. It'd be probably really fun.
Yeah, I bet we could do something pretty awesome, especially if we did it like in the cities. I bet we could get a lot of people there.
Yeah, for sure. So, listen, your session. Now, I've already like talked about this ad nauseum at Schoology Next, but I'm not gonna let you and Jared minimize how like people were crying because of how not out of laughter, but they were emotional about how good this was in the sense that I mean, a lot of us have been to a lot of education conferences and seen really crappy sessions. Sure. And maybe even delivered crappy sessions. And I don't think I've ever seen something that was like the perfect balance of entertainment and education, in the sense that the people who were in it were learning things. If you were paying attention to like, and it wasn't anything like I was expecting. Like when you guys started with that Hamilton,
sure,
I lost it. I lost it right away, and I'm sitting right at the front. Like Jared was practically spitting on me when he was singing. I'm sitting right at the front, and I'm losing my mind at how good this was. I couldn't. If sessions were like that, conferences would be packed.
Yeah, thank you, man.
I mean, it was amazing and so interesting. And so I think that there's a link to a Periscope.
Yes, and it came out pretty good.
We'll put in the show notes. I think Sarah Jaffer from Schoology did it.
Yeah.
Or we'll find another one. There's a couple people that Periscoped it, I think. And I mean, they had to blow out the wall, right?
Yes.
They had to open it up. There was easily, how many people do you think? There was easily 300 people in that room.
Well, the one room the capacity was 150, so they had to open up the other room, but it wasn't like people were standing up and all over the place, and
so there was about 300 people in the room.
It was insane.
It was absolutely insane.
The timing was perfect, though, too, that Schoology was able to go ahead and push it to a time where it didn't compete with other sessions, so that people could just come kind of as, they didn't have to, like, go, oh, I'm going to miss this specific session. We didn't want it. When it was originally scheduled before I got sick, we were against other sessions, which I thought was not going to be a good deal. So it just ended up working out perfectly that we had a later time after everything was already done so that we could get people there. And then I was looking back at the video the other day because I was showing it to one of my friends who wasn't there, And I was laughing because I just see how many people have their cell phones out and recording things,
Right.
It was like you were like at a concert or something. So I was cracking up at looking at people like recording the audience or recording whatever.
I was losing my mind.
Yes, it was hilarious. And I'm going to talk to, we've been talking, Jared and I, about doing it again at some other event,
Yeah, of course.
Or just, whatever the next conference would be. I know that the TIES conference, which is held in Minnesota in December, I think that they would be interested in us doing that there. And then, wouldn't that be awesome to do something like that at ISTE or something like that? Something huge.
Oh, you gotta. It's funny when I did my first when I did my first session in 2015. I was doing a Minecraft session called the Minecraft Makerspace, and my first place I ever delivered it was as a lecture, actually at a local university's education program.
Yeah,
and the professor after came up to me. I was a guest. The professor who was running the class came up to me and said, "Man, you've got to take that on the road." I'd never thought about doing it like
Sure.
other places.
Yeah.
I basically built it for this BEd course, for this guest session
Okay,
that I was doing on game based learning. But that's when I did it about 3 other times, and I'll tell you, I would take this one out and go around and do it, and then work on the gamification, the musical too. And literally,
well, for sure, we're going to do that next year. That's a given that we're going to propose a session for the next time Schoology NEXT happens.
I would debut it every year at ISTE as opposed to debuting, because ISTE comes before Next.
Yes.
So maybe debut it every year. Debut it every year at ISTE, and then oh man, like let me tell you. I'm emotional just thinking about it because it was
really well received. I got to say that because
so much fun.
We were like, well, and people were asking us about it, and they're like, well, what is it like? And we were trying to describe it to them. We're just saying, our description was, it's not like any other session you've ever been to.
No,
and just be prepared to have fun with it. Because it's definitely audience participation. That's the part that was awesome. Is everybody got into it. Everybody was singing along. So that's what makes it fun.
You know what's amazing though? It also epitomizes the very nature of gamification and games-based learning. That the one thing that I've always tried to do is if something's not fun, I don't do it anymore.
Sure.
You try to make it fun. And if it's not fun, if a kid's not having fun, they're not learning. They don't care.
I agree.
They lose interest. And the same thing happens at conferences.
Yeah, it's adults too.
I guarantee you, almost everyone who's listening here is nodding their heads right now because everyone has been in a session that sucked. And right? Tell me I'm wrong.
No, I know what you mean.
I'm just saying it in the way that you shouldn't say it to be mean, but I don't have those types of reservations. If it's not interesting, no one listens. Yeah. So, if you look at the words that you're saying in the lyrics, it's brilliant. It is absolutely
Jared did an
freaking
amazing
brilliant
job of when he put that together. Yes, and he definitely, he led the charge on the lyrics, and he's also very gifted in theater. He actually was off Broadway and worked in several things before he became a teacher, and so he was guiding me along as far as making sure that we made it a production, a show. So that was amazing too.
And you guys practiced a few times while you were dying before you went to the doctors.
Yes, it wasn't very pretty.
Oh, no, you were,
but it turned out awesome. Yes,
you did that pre-conference session.
Yes, 3 hours.
let me actually tell you the story about that, because there is a funny story. Because I got there in the middle of your session.
Yeah,
and the doorway to the room you were in opened up in the front of the room.
Yes.
Okay, like, so you had to like open the door, and I was looking right at you.
Yes.
And I felt so I peeked in, and I'm like, I closed the door really quick, and I'm like, oh crap, because it's scared. I'm like, I got to go in there, and everyone's already in there, and he's talking, and I'm talking to someone was standing there, Ivan or something, and they're laughing at me because I'm like, I don't want to go in there. Everyone's in there already. I feel bad, and I was like, is there a back door? Is there a way that I can go in there without like being like completely a disruptive jerk? And they're like, no, dude, just go. It's you. It's not like it's like rando. Glenn will just say hi and you'll just keep going. And it was so weird. But yeah, I finally kind of just bit the bullet and jumped in there, I guess. But it was weird because the door opened right in front of you, basically at the front of the room.
Those were awkward rooms, I thought.
I was like, oh God, do I really have to do this? So, anyways, your session was really cool, though. I liked your, what was that system you were using for the slideshow? The
Nearpod.
Right.
Yes.
I don't know why I forgot the name of that, but
highly recommend it. Yes, if you're going to do any kind of lecture, it's a good way to bring interaction into it. And there's a free version of it too.
Very cool. We had a ton of fun.
Yes, it was amazing. Everybody that went there, love all of you guys. I mean, there's a reason why I think that Schoology is like a really powerful learning management system, and they're doing really well. And that's, the community is ridiculous.
Yeah,
just and welcoming.
Oh man, we had so much. You were in your room quite a bit, not feeling well.
Yeah,
but boy, oh boy, some of the people and the personalities, and you get to hang out with everyone, and it was a ton of fun. It was.
Yes.
I'm excited to go back and do it all again.
I wonder where it'll be at.
I don't know.
I'm hoping for like
Hawaii,
somewhere I've never been. That's what I'm hoping for.
Jamaica. Schoology NEXT 2019 Jamaica. Start a hashtag and make it work. I mean, geez, so they'll do it on a resort in San Diego. Jamaica's probably cheaper, to be honest. Because it's like all good conferences, it wasn't cheap.
No.
Probably about maybe cost me about $2,200 all in.
Yeah, I mean the ticket is
Canadian. Sorry.
Normal. If you didn't get it early, it's about $800 for the ticket.
Yeah.
So just that. Just think about that. That's just the ticket to get in, and then you have to, of course, think about room and board and everything else
at a resort.
Exactly.
In Southern California, where it never.
Yep.
Where it never rains. Where it never
Beautiful
rains.
place. Yes.
Yeah. All right. So, very, very fun. Can't wait for next year. Listen, if you're a Schoology user and you're not going to Schoology Next, you're wrong. And you should definitely fix that next year. When we come back, the school year's coming up sooner for you than for me, I guess. But we'll talk about the upcoming school year a little bit.
OnEducation is brought to you by Audible. Mike, what have you been reading lately? And I suppose you're kind of like me, where you have quite a few books that you have on your list.
I have too many books on my list. I have probably about 40 audiobooks on my queue, and between listening to podcasts and audiobooks, I am well stocked. Lots of cool books are on Audible, hundreds and thousands of titles, and you can get your own audiobook download for free if you go to audibletrial.com/oneducation. That's audibletrial.com/oneducation, and you can get a free audiobook download. You should go do that, like, right now.
All right, welcome back to the show. New school year coming up. I start on September 4th, or at least that's my first day of school. I'm back on August 20th. You guys are back. You actually have to go in today for something, I think.
Yes.
But your school starts a little bit earlier, as far as I know. And we're really excited. So we're gonna just talk about what we're gonna do this year, a little bit of some ideas, and just some thoughts on starting the year. So when do you go back? Because I'm a little confused about this, I guess, just like always.
Uh, it's actually the same date as you. I mean, that's
Okay.
when the students will be back. Will be September 4th.
4th.
Actually, I think we have September 4th is we do a school-wide new student orientation, and then by school-wide I mean district-wide, and then September 5th I think is a Wednesday. That's the day that all students are in session. The teachers are contractually. We're supposed to be there the week before. It's the Monday. It's probably the same day as you, to be able to get there. But since I'm a tech, coach, instructional coach, we're developing our professional development and doing a bunch of different stuff like distribution of one-to-one devices before that. You know what I mean? So it's just kind of my other obligations that I do, which are, totally awesome and cool. You have to prepare those things in order to make sure that they turn out, well.
Yeah.
Just like any lesson planning.
Yeah. We have an optional this is the first year we have an optional week, so we can come in on the 20th to the 24th.
Oh,
and
cool.
there's some optional training stuff.
Do they pay you for those too?
Yeah. So yes.
Extra?
Yeah.
Cool.
Which never happened before. And we get a paycheck at the end of the month. We've never gotten, even though we've always come in that last week of August. So this year it's the 27th to the 31st. But we've never gotten paid for that week, in the past. And because our school, we get paid at the end of every month, it means that we had to go through all of September before we got paid.
Yes.
At the end of September. So this is actually a lot more convenient for a lot of us, because at our school we don't get paid in the summer at all. So I haven't had a paycheck since the end of June.
Yeah, you talked about that. It's a 10-month cycle, right?
Yeah. So this year we get to come in on the 20th and work 2 weeks and get 2 weeks pay on the 31st of August, which is awesome.
That's great.
It makes it, to be honest, it makes a huge difference for us. And then school starts on the 4th. I don't have any classes on the 4th. They cancel what we would call specialty classes in the morning of the 4th. Sure. But if I have classes on the Tuesday, whatever cycle day that is, that's when we get started in the afternoon. So, yeah, I mean, we're getting really close to it. I've been thinking a lot about this year. I actually, to be honest, I think I've been thinking more about the upcoming year this year than previous. And this is actually your first... Yeah, for sure. And I think this is your first full year as a tech coach. So what are you thinking about for this year? In terms
really
of what your plans are?
It's really different. When I was teaching, I had a process. 18 years of doing it, you start developing a process of like, okay, I need to start getting these specific things ready, and then just probably like other teachers do, what am I going to change? What's going to be effective? How do I start the year off so that we really make good student connections, so that they are excited about being in your class and those kinds of things. But now that I'm an instructional coach, I'm trying to do in a way it's kind of similar, except I want to make those connections with my peers. So that would be the biggest difference, I think, right now, is that you're talking about adult learning versus your students. Right.
So you're going to try to make better connections with the teachers at the school, I guess is what you're saying there.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that's the number one thing. I even said that, I believe I said that in my interview, that in order to be able to deliver effective instruction of any kind, your audience needs to have a connection with you.
Of course.
And the stronger that connection is, the more likely that they're going to remember this stuff, and then the more likely that they're going to want more. So the same thing happens, I think, in professional development. Really need to make an effort to develop those connections, and then start finding out what are teachers doing as far as in their classes, and how can you help them to grow, without being, feeling like you're an administrator. You're there to just basically complement their work, not to criticize their work.
Yeah, totally. I try to do one new thing a year.
Yes.
At least one new thing, like one big new thing. I try to do a lot of new things, but I try to do one big new thing a year. So, so when I started teaching computer science, I rewrote the curriculum and I said it was a 5-year plan.
Okay.
I kind of road mapped it for 5 years. I knew what was going to happen in those 5 years, virtually to the year. So I guess the reason why I say I'm thinking a lot more about this year than most years is because I'm going into year 6.
Ooh, so it's starting the cycle again.
Kinda. So I've been thinking a lot about, you know, what tools I'm going to use or you know, I have the content down. The content's great, and I know it's great because the kids are doing great work.
Yeah.
But I've been thinking about tools. You know, one of the great things about going to all these conferences and talking to other teachers and doing this podcast is that you're exposed to a lot of different tools and devices and ideas that I'm not sure I would have been exposed to prior. And so I think I'm going to be using, in particular, Flipgrid. Helps that it's free now.
Oh, God, yeah. I mean, that's huge.
And I think I'm going to use either GimKit or Kahoot. I haven't decided which one
Okay.
I'm going to use yet. I'm kind of playing with both of them.
Yeah, I would do both.
And you know, I was experimenting actually last night with embeds in Schoology and found, you know, I guess there was a session that I didn't go to because I thought I was all excited until I told Steve Rayo about it on Twitter last night, and he's like, dude, we know about this. So, I mean, totally took the wind out of my sails, but I figured out how to embed anything into Schoology by using an iframe generator. So I went
that's
and
awesome.
Yeah,
no, I mean,
so like I had
not a lot of
Kahoot
people
up.
do that though. So I mean, it's not like just because Steven is on the edge of things, you know.
Right,
So
I guess
it's okay
so.
that he does that. Yes.
Aw, you're so nice. I thought I was being cool, and then Steve totally ate, peed in my cornflakes, for lack of better words. But anyways, I was playing with iframe generators and taking Kahoot windows and putting them in the because they don't have embed code in Kahoot. I don't know if GimKit does. Do you know if GimKit has embeds?
You know what?
Can you
I don't
embed
know.
a GimKit into Schoology?
I don't think you can do that yet. But that is one of the things that I know he has a long list of the things that he's
roadmap.
working on. But it's still in its infancy, so not yet.
Sure.
But you can't do that with. Can you do that with Kahoot? I don't think
You
so.
can't. No, you can't.
No, I didn't.
So
think
that's why I was playing with it. I took the URL for the quiz in Kahoot, put it in this iframe generator. It creates an iframe code that you then just paste into the embed part of Schoology, and bam, Kahoot's embedded in Schoology now.
Okay, I get you.
It was pretty awesome, actually.
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I would say that's not a very well known thing. So yeah,
Cool.
That's that definitely is a tutorial video there. Even though Steven probably already created one.
Right. That's what. Well, I gave that to him because I don't make tutorial videos or anything like that, but he does. A lot of them, actually.
Yeah.
And so I was like, dude, you gotta do this. I think he said that Tara Amsterdam, she's a Schoology ambassador, very cool, very cool person. She showed people how to do that in her session, the Schoology Ninja session.
Sure. Yeah. And I think I'm just gonna take your idea right now, and I'm writing it down. I'm gonna make a video about it.
Go make that video.
Yep. And I'm gonna.
Someone
tag
has
Steven in
to.
it.
Someone has to. It's really cool. So you can take really anything that's embeddable or not even embeddable and make it embeddable by putting it in an iframe generator. Anyways, I'm going to do that. Nice. So I'm excited about using some sort of quizzing tool or a gamification type tool. I'm excited about using Flipgrid. I'm going to use Padlet a little bit for some brainstorming and kind of mind mapping stuff.
Yes.
I've used MindMeister before. If you've ever heard of MindMeister,
I have. Yes.
But I'm kind of tempted to do it in a little bit different way. I'm still thinking about doing my game design challenge in groups.
Yeah.
And wrapping my head around how to do that. So I got lots of stuff I'm thinking about in terms of next year.
And that's awesome. I mean, I think this is an exciting time of year, but it's also a like a nerve-wracking time of year for teachers. Trying to say, okay, what are the things that I can actually do here in day one or week one or the first few weeks, and then what am I going to save, for down the road, so that I don't overwhelm myself. That's what I usually try to tell people if they're going to use any kind of new techniques or tools or whatever it might be. I was like, make it manageable for yourself so that you can sustain, throughout the year, because it's a long year, so you don't have to do it all in the first week.
Yeah. I'm trying to set the tone a little bit different.
Of course. Yes.
I think in previous years I've set a tone like as if we never left kind of stuff, kind of just being kind of cool and casual.
Yeah.
And I like that, and I think the kids like that part of my personality because it's fun. But I also want to just be, I don't know how to say this, and I know I'm saying it wrong because it's making me sound really bad, but I want to be nicer. I don't know how to say that differently.
Sure, no, that makes sense.
I feel like my personality is misunderstood fairly often, I think, as someone who's, aggressive and that kind of stuff. And I don't feel like I am. I just come across that way sometimes.
Okay, yeah.
And I think I'm a really nice guy to my students, but I'm going to try to project that more, I think, and I'm thinking about it a lot. And I met a lot of really awesome people this summer who do a really good job of projecting it, even though they are still thinking about like business and networking and like, who would be a good example of this? Noah. Noah's a great example of this.
Yeah, Noah
is all business in the sense that this guy is professional. He's accomplished. He's all of those things.
Yes.
Yet he's also one of the nicest guys that I had ever met in that world. You know what I mean?
Yes, he's running like 12 things all at the exact same time.
And smiling
he has
the whole time.
A smile and a hug ready for you.
100%.
Yes.
I think that's, I guess, him and, I mean, Steve Isaacs, I guess, is another guy that
Absolutely.
is always just happy. Always just looking like he's, just loving what he does. And I love what I do 100%. And I want to project that more, and have it come out in my personality more, because I'm not sure it does.
Yeah. That's a great goal for all of us, just to, because there is a lot of joy in our jobs.
Yeah.
Being connected to students and doing all of the things that we get to do. And then trying to remember that even in the most stressful kind of times, it's easy to get caught up in the kind of the junk that's outside, and then forget about, hey, you know what? There's some awesome things that are happening, and we get to work with these amazing young minds and really make an impact. Have an opportunity to make an impact on their lives and for the rest of their lives.
Totally. All of that. Lots going to happen this year. This is a big year for me. Like I said, the plan at the computer science program was a 5-year plan. This is year 6. There is tons of change on my horizon. I'm not going to talk a whole lot about it yet, but this is a big year for me. And so, the great thing is now, or not great thing is that, a couple thousand people a week get to, I guess, share that with me now.
That is awesome. Yes.
So we'll see. We'll see what all happens. It's going to be weird. I'm going to rely on Glen for moral support, I suppose. The only other thing I wanted to mention before we wrap this segment up is that this is a great time of year. If you're not attached to using, a social network for education, this is the time of year to get into that.
Absolutely.
Twitter, Instagram, whatever jam your social networking is, Pinterest, get engaged. There's so many, in the last couple of days in particular.
Amazing people out there, and so many people are getting revved up right now at this time of year and really ready. to make new connections and listen
Yep.
to the ideas that are, everything from how do you begin the first day of class to, like what you're talking about, setting that awesome tone as far as in class, to great ideas for lesson plans or units or whatever it might be. Gosh, there's just so much stuff out there. And it's all free. That's what makes me happy.
Yeah, totally. And I mean, I saw some beautiful classrooms last night just floating around on Twitter looking at some different people's posts, and a lot of people are sharing their classrooms now because they're all set up. Some people start school today.
I know.
So
isn't
some
that
people
crazy?
Yeah. So people are sharing their rooms and stuff. And listen, if you're not on Twitter and you want to get on Twitter, follow us. Follow at Mr. Washburn. Follow Irv Spanish, IRV Spanish.
Absolutely.
And
We'll
listen,
follow you
let
back.
us know if you send us a message and let us know that you got on Twitter because we told you to. We'll share your info with people in our Glen has, I don't know how many followers, about 7,000 or 8,000 followers, and I'm shooting up to about 14. I just passed 1,400 the other day. It's unbelievable to think I had 600 followers about 8 months ago. So
That's amazing.
So things are skyrocketing for us, and we'll share your info and get you some people in your PLN.
Yes, for sure.
Your
Get you
community
connected
to learn
some
from.
people to listen to be able to connect them to other people. It's just awesome. Yes. So
100%.
We're happy to do that.
And so absolutely have a great year, everyone. Please send us messages on Twitter or even at the if you go to oneducationpodcast.com, down at the bottom there's a form. You can send us messages there. We check it once every couple weeks, and if you have questions or anything, you can talk to us there too. When we come back, we're going to talk to Santeri Koivisto, the CEO of Teacher Gaming. All right, welcome back to the show. We are here, well, not here live, but we're here, and we're talking to Santeri Koivisto, the CEO of Teacher Gaming. Welcome to the pod, Santeri.
Thank you very much. Great to be here.
Awesome. So I guess the first thing we'll talk about is we announced it actually a couple weeks ago on the Twitters, but you guys sponsored us for ISTE 2018. That was a blast. We had a lot of fun. We did a lot of work, 6 episodes in 5 days, and talked about teacher gaming a ton. And we're happy to announce that you guys have signed on to continue sponsoring the show. Actually, people have already heard the first advertisement because we recorded the main part of the podcast prior to this. So, I guess we'll say thank you, and maybe you want to talk about why you decided to work with us and share our excitement. I guess it's exciting stuff.
Well, I think it was a very, very natural thing. So I'm very glad that you guys and we figured it out, and this is happening. From the very early days of when the Minecraft EDU, the legacy, good old Minecraft EDU started, we always wanted to invite gamer educators, teachers, any type of educators who were interested in games to join our Slack channels, or we used HipChat back in the days.
Right.
And I think from there, this dialogue and this partnership with whoever is interested in sharing their thoughts on how to use Minecraft back then, but nowadays, of course, many other games and any format they were using, we wanted to be there and help them. So I think that now that there are teachers that use games and educators that are gamers who are running a podcast, I mean, for us, it's like, okay, yeah, it makes sense. Let's be part of this.
It's funny. I talk. I do a lot of the business side of this, and one of the things I say to people, and I mean, I would have said this to Joanna, and we would have said the same thing to the folks at Schoology and whoever else we're dealing with, is that the great thing about our audience is that almost all of them exclusively are educators. It's not like a really low percentage, for lack of better words, hit rate. You are getting an audience that is almost exclusively people who would be interested in your stuff, and
Yes.
and we're as people who love video games. Glenn and I talk about video games constantly on the show. We've already talked about World of Warcraft comes out today, the new expansion. So I mean, we talk about video games all the time, and I mean, it's a captive market. It's exactly the people that we want hearing about the work that you guys are doing. You guys are doing awesome stuff, and I think that this is as perfect a fit for, I think, both of us as you could possibly get. So it's super exciting for us as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think that it's great that there is a place for teachers, educators to, first of all, share their success stories, but also for the ones that are not that familiar but understand and know the potential. See everybody, all the young people, even adults nowadays playing games, and just thinking that, oh boy, if I could leverage that somehow, it's great to know that there is a sort of a platform for that, lacking of better word.
Totally.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've been a big fan of teacher gaming for years now, Santeri, and of course, it started out with exactly what you were just talking about, Minecraft EDU, the Legacy Edition. But I always felt that your company truly supported teachers, not just in the product, but delivering highly effective game-based learning. And what I want to make sure we distinguish is between the companies out there that are putting together just kind of gaming on the side of learning. So, the chocolate-covered broccoli. But your company's mission is truly connected to teaching and learning. So my question is, how do you guys stay connected to educators and to our students? Because it seems like you're doing an amazing job doing that.
Well, first of all, thank you. I think that the secret sauce for us is that we are also educators and gamers ourselves.
Yes.
Because of few lucky mistakes, I guess we ended up first working with Minecraft and then with other games. And the whole journey started when I was myself in a classroom and felt like this Minecraft thing has a huge potential. Nowadays, I try to spend as much time in schools. Of course, my work mostly ends up dealing with the administrators, but whenever they say yes to a student demo, that tends to make me excited, because then I can come up with a lesson plan and I can do like this cool game-based learning using a game in a class lesson plan with real students that I haven't met before, so it's always a bit scary at the same time.
That's awesome.
But I think that throwing myself into the pit once in a while with maybe a new game that I haven't used at all or haven't played, like there are plenty of games still left in our portfolio that I haven't played myself, and then testing it out, because we claim that teachers that want to use games can pretty much just use the doorknob tactic, that you don't plan anything, you just go in, open up a lesson and run it. So I've been doing that a couple times. Is that actually true? Can I do it myself? But of course, I play games. One of the latest games that I've been playing a lot, unfortunately, I don't think that this is anytime soon coming to the classrooms, unfortunately, but it's Subnautica. An amazing game.
Yeah, that's a beautiful game.
So I think that playing a lot of games myself helps to keep up with the pace of what are the cool games that actually could potentially come into the classroom as well.
I've heard people have been talking lately about what was the game, that new Jurassic Park game, and how there's some really interesting education connections with that. And Glen and I Glen has been playing it for a while, and I just picked it up, Monster Hunter World. And thinking about, there's might be some interesting connections to education there too. So I love that you guys do take like real legit games and then think about how to turn them into educational experiences. It's easily my favorite thing about what you guys do.
Well, yeah, thank you. So yeah, I just think that when I've been following the game-based learning, following it now very closely for 10 years, and then already before that I've been looking at the history books of games being in the classroom, and one of my observations has been that game media, first of all, is very expensive to build. And especially if you want to make it like highly polished, highly engaging. And then when we are looking at school budgets and how much money, for example, people are interested and willing and capable of spending on educational resources in general, it's hard to justify spending the resources on maybe few hours of content. I'm afraid that I have to say that in terms of making games from scratch to school is so big of an overhead when it comes to business that I would say that the business is almost broken in
hard.
that sense.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I love that. I mean, that's what Mike is just talking about. I think the game-based learning aspect of the way that you're turning these commercial games into true game-based learning experiences is unlike any other place that I've seen it, except for that, that Minecraft experience that I had with Minecraft EDU, and then now with the Education Edition. But how about teachers that are unfamiliar with it, Santeri? What do you feel are the most important aspects for delivering effective game-based learning? Like a new teacher, they're unfamiliar, they're paranoid about delivering that lesson. What would you tell them as far as important aspects for going ahead and doing that?
Well, I would just say that go for it.
Yes.
And typically I would recommend first time, if you have the chance, try with slightly older students, meaning like maybe a 10 plus year old, because they are generally the most excited about games. They already play very complex games. They can help you to facilitate the class. So you don't have to be the expert, like 100% expert. Of course, it helps if you get to know the game even a tiny bit yourself, so you know what it's about. But then I think this is a very, very important question, and one of the things that what we felt is very important for our business to thrive and make teachers be able to use games is that there needs to be this ongoing pedagogical support. That if you are not a gamer yourself, you don't have the time to spend a lot of time with video games because maybe you have kids, maybe you have other things in your life, other hobbies. So then there would be always maybe a WhatsApp number or Skype call or something that you can have with a more seasoned gamer educator or one of our teachers in the community, that you can have that 15-minute conversation about what could fit my class, what it requires from the technical side of life, and how to get going. And I think that type of support that we have been doing, especially now that I've been spending a lot of time in India, that support is golden.
That's such a great point. Professional development, just being able to connect with someone who has already done it, and then they can guide you through, especially those first experiences. But even later on, when you're like, okay, I've done these things, what can I do next? Can you give me some ideas? And that's a great thing that you guys do there, is that support for teachers and that professional development. So I was going to ask you, what is on the horizon for teacher gaming? What can we expect from you guys?
Well, currently we are of course looking at some new games. We have, I think, about 10 or so in the pipeline.
Nice.
So you'll know which those are very soon. But to be honest with where our company currently is that now it's really time to hit the ground, meet schools, meet teachers, see how we can make this work from the business point of view. And I think from our company focus, that's really the key point. Something, by the way, I want to add to that previous question, if I may, was that what we have seen already with Minecraft being one game that teachers used, but now, especially when there are more games in the portfolio, we see that every year there is this value or this thing keeps sort of growing in a way that first year it might be this one game about solar system, next year it's that, but there is also this city building project, this phenomena-based learning or whatever, and it's sort of the value of games when people get step by step more familiar that keeps on growing. And I think that, of course, Minecraft being such a flexible platform, you can do so many things going forward, but at the same time it's nice to have different types of games. Just one thing that I wanted to point out.
Yeah, of course. No, and I think that's an amazing point too, because for example, Mike and I are into city building games, that city skylines that you guys have, but you guys offer a variety of different types of games for your different types of player types. Your different gamers, that want to get into different things, because not everybody's going to be hardcore into a sandbox type of world, but you're going to be into a variety of different games, as Mike and I talk about all the time too.
One thing that I think, we have this ongoing partnership with Filament Learning and Filament Games, which I think is an amazing company. And I think that their games are this very, especially some of them are like this very beautiful balance between very immersive, engaging game mechanics and then this real sort of hardcore curricular lesson sort of content there. And I think that those filament learning games are some of the best games to get started if you are a teacher that has no previous experience and just wants to sort of get out there and see the reaction of students. I think something like Dr. Guts, for example, might be like a great first game for you to try.
Yes. Yeah, it's such a great point there too. So I was going to end on here. Anything that you want to go ahead and tell our audience as far as how do we get started with teacher gaming? How does someone out there listening to this, they're like, okay, I'm interested. What should I do next?
Well, my general point is that, of course, we are one company, and we feature some games out of so many games that are out there, not only about education, but in general. But what I would recommend to start, of course, is to pay attention to what happens in the games industry and game field, and not like what games are your students playing, because I think that there is a lot of value just going on a school break and ask your students if they are on their mobiles, like, hey guys, or girls, what are you playing? Can I take a look? Can you explain what's going on? I think that's the great starting point. But then if somebody wants to get their hands dirty with with games in their classroom or maybe give some homework, we do have like this onboarding, like this support thing that anybody who is interested can just let us know, and we're happy to provide free of charge trial, 1 month or a few months, and then people can get like an onboarding session where we can look into what type of goals you might have for games. Nice. Then one of our educators can help you to find the game, what technicalities you might want to take into account, and of course, like how you facilitate the first lesson that you are going to be doing, where to find the resources. So our job is to provide basically that very smooth first game experience in the class. And of course, if after that you feel like this is a great tool, I want to learn more, then hopefully there are some opportunities for us to work together from the business point of view. But of course, one thing is that we would like to give everybody a possibility to try the games that we work, get a sense of game pedagogy or like using games in the class. And if the games that you are looking for are not in our portfolio, I hope that you just find like great games that you can use in your class. And if the games are not available for education just yet, let us know.
Awesome.
That is so awesome.
So www.teachergaming.com. You can go there and like Santeri said, you can sign up for a free trial. They do have an awesome onboarding process. You can actually literally get on a phone call or a Skype call or whatever with these folks, and they can walk you through whatever you need to do. I think it's great that Santeri said, don't be afraid. It's literally video games, and there's nothing less scary than video games, and it is a great way to teach kids. Awesome. Santeri, thanks for joining us. This has been awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
OnEducation is an on-podcast media production. My name is Mike Washburn. My co-host is Glen Irvin. You can get in touch with us or ask us questions to answer on air by visiting our website, oneducationpodcast.com. You can tweet us at OnEducationPod. Glen is at IrvSpanish on Twitter. I can be found on Twitter at Mr. Washburn. Our sound engineer is Jake Codeweiss. He's on Twitter at JKRadio. You can find us on Facebook by visiting facebook.com/oneducationpod. If you're enjoying the show and think others would too, we would be honored if you shared it with them. Please leave us a rating or review in Apple Podcasts or the Google Play Store. When you leave a rating, it gives our rankings a boost. This helps others discover the show. We want to thank our presenting sponsor, Schoology, for supporting us. Check out Schoology.com to learn how they can help you advance what's possible. Thanks as always for listening. Stay awesome. See you soon.